Irreducible complexity in nature, like DNA, the language of life, is another irrefutable evidence of creation and a clear rebuke of the lie of evolution. Here we have, as you see on the slide, a mousetrap, a pocket watch, and the E. coli bacteria. All were designed by a designer. 2 by humans, made in the image of God, and 1 by God himself, the great architect and designer. That's a noisy vehicle. As God is a better designer than us children of Adam made in God's image, God's able to design machines that have the language within themselves to create the tools to recreate themselves. In other words, as Genesis 1 says and predicts, and as we observe in confirming Genesis 1, God created the bacteria kind with its seed within it according to its kind, with the ability to reproduce itself according to its kind. Try designing something like that. That would be amazing if humans could imitate God by designing something that can reproduce itself. So, irreducible complexity is a term coined by Professor of Biochemistry Michael Behe, another of many great Bible-believing creationist scientists who are at the forefront of discovery and innovation because they base their thinking on the scriptures, like Isaac Newton and so many others. And Behe writes that if the biochemical system is reduced by even one component, it ceases to function. That's what's meant by irreducible complexity. Like DNA, God's language for biological life, the reality of cells and all living organisms' irreducible complexity is a death blow to the lie of evolution. As Jason Lisle writes, every living cell of every organism contains a host of complex biochemical machines, each cooperating with the others to enable the survival of the entire cell. The parts of the cell are interdependent. If any one of them malfunctions, it can lead to the death of the entire cell. Likewise, the entire organism's component parts are interdependent. So, for example, for mammals, as well as human beings, which are not mammals, if you want to understand that, read Genesis chapter 2. But Lisle writes, the heart, kidneys, and lungs all work together. Without one, the others could not survive. So that's that interdependent, irreducible complexity. So you have to ask then, if evolution were true, which evolved first, hearts, kidneys, or lungs? Each is useless without the other two. Such interdependent parts challenge the idea of particles to people or goo to you evolution. Evolution is supposed to happen in a gradual, stepwise fashion. As Lisle writes, one by one mutations are supposed to gradually change one kind of organism into another, but a stepwise evolutionary process for any interdependent system of parts would be impossible at the outset, because none of them can function on their own, and so they can't evolve individually. The cells of living creatures and the whole bodies of living creatures are irreducibly complex. That is, every piece requires all the other pieces at the same time. This confirms the biblical record once again. The creation account is a scientific model, and its predictions are confirmed by what we see around us. God said he created beings all at once, instantaneously, through the breath of his mouth, that he spoke everything into being by his almighty power. And irreducible complexity confirms that because none of these pieces could have arisen independently. They all needed to appear at the same time. So God's biological life that he created is made up of machines within machines within machines, all with interdependent working parts. Chance, random processes, accidents, explosions, and short evolution cannot account for this reality. What we see, what we are, requires an all-powerful master designer. That's the only rational, logical, scientific explanation. The cause of any effect must be greater than that effect. The cause of human beings must be superior to us. The only such being we know of is the God who has revealed himself through his book, the Bible.